Good morning. This is Keloland on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Multiple injuries are reported after a two-vehicle head-on collision on Interstate 90 last night. The crash happened just before 6:30 in the construction zone near the Hartford exit.
The interstate was closed for a time and traffic diverted while crews investigated and cleaned up the scene. Right now, we do not know the extent of the injuries or cause. We will bring you updates on air and online as they become available. In the past week, local authorities arrested 5 men for attempted enticement of a minor. One of the suspects is a convicted sex offender who is currently on parole for rape. Joshua Catrone was convicted of 4th-degree rape in 2016. In that case, the victim was a 15-year-old girl.
Here's a look at the rest of the suspects. They're all in their 20s and 30s. According to court documents, they allegedly wanted to engage in sexual activity with underage teenagers. But rather than talking to kids, they were actually communicating with undercover officers. All 5 suspects appeared in federal court this week.
A Sioux Falls man charged with child pornography faces new accusations this morning. Court documents say 23-year-old Travielle Miles threatened to send nude photos of a teenage girl to members of her family.
The original charges go back to February 2022 when Miles allegedly coerced the teen into sending him sexually explicit images. Miles will be back in court to face the new charge on March 20th.
And a convicted sex offender is facing charges in Rapid City. 85-year-old Dallas Crouch was arrested Wednesday on several warrants in an investigation for soliciting a minor, sexually exploiting a minor, and loitering in a community safety zone.
Meanwhile, 2 Sioux Falls men were arrested accused of trying to cash forged checks in Brookings County. The Brookings County Sheriff's Office says it happened just after 4:30 Wednesday afternoon in the 300 block of Casson Avenue in Volga. Officials say 31-year-old Angelo Highpipe was unable to cash it.
While searching Highpipe, authorities also found a check from a Brookings business for just over $5,200. Meth and fentanyl were also found. Authorities say Highpipe is responsible for cashing a fake check at a Brookings bank earlier in the day.
Authorities then discovered that 51-year-old Brian Ritter was also trying to cash fake checks in Brookings. He's charged with passing a forged instrument. Meanwhile, Highpipe is charged with possession of a forged instrument and possession of a controlled substance.
Now let's get a check of our forecast with meteorologist Scott Munt. Good morning, Scott. More winter weather on the way this weekend, right?
Oh, that's what we are looking at. You know, temperatures remaining below average until we hit Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Numbers will jump back to seasonal numbers or even beyond. But you're right. In the meantime, still holding on to winter. Temperatures today in the 30s. And then we are watching for a wintry mix tonight. Central, South Dakota. Some of that will spill over into southeastern Keloland as we do go into the overnight hours. And we have a chance to see accumulating snow. Brian will talk more about that in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Scott. A bill on the way to Governor Kristi Noem's desk aims to increase state aid for education by 7.1%. Noem originally recommended 5%, but the Joint Committee on Appropriations approved the higher amount on Thursday.
If approved, it would include $39.5 million in new funding for K-12 education. Baltic Superintendent Bob Sitting says the increase would help address the shortage of teachers and other support staff.
It will be important for the faculty. It will, because I think, first of all, it kind of shows that the legislature does appreciate what they do and values education, that they would put this money into it. So I think from that standpoint, and then if they can get more money in their paycheck, that'll be a good thing.
Senate Bill 24, which provides the 7% increase in state aid and revises the property tax levies for school districts, sets the state's target teacher salary at around $59,700. You can see that full bill and another that appropriates funds for the fiscal year 2024 general fund attached to this story right here on Keloland.com.
It's called War Booty, or a souvenir, if you will. John Mollison of Sioux Falls has a billfold of a Japanese soldier from World War II. It was given to him by fighter pilot Claude Hone, who took it off the soldier after he died. Hone told Mollison the wallet and its contents have bothered him for years.
And Claude had told me, he said, you know, this isn't mine, and it never was.
Mollison is flying to Guam later this month to return the billfold and its contents to the National Park Service to hopefully be placed in a war museum.
And bowling with excavators was part of the hands-on fun at the CTE Academy in Sioux Falls Thursday.
8th graders learned skills in how to operate heavy equipment as part of an event to get them interested in construction careers.
I hear girls every year in this event that are like, I never knew I could even do that. And maybe that's something I want to do. And, you know, we're hoping to see that obviously then in the trade schools and even just out of high school, them starting careers in the construction industry.
CTE students showed the girls how to use welding equipment. This week marks National Women in Construction Week. The industry hopes this future generation will step up and help fill the void of openings for construction jobs.
That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
Okay, recap of yesterday. Sioux Falls had snow, but as it was snowing, it was also melting because it was 34 degrees for a while. So we ended up with about 2.2. Vermilion had a burst of snow, and they ended up with 4.5 inches. So it was heavier south and east of Sioux Falls. 3-inch numbers coming in around Sioux Center to Spencer. There were 4- and 5-inch totals near Gary, South Dakota toward Marshall. Watertown had about 3 to 3.5. Sisseton area was near 4. Aberdeen close to 3. Huron back west of Miller was a 4-inch swath. And then around Pierre, another fresh 2 to 3 inches of snow. So we'll do the math. We'll kind of add the running tally for the week here, but we're adding up. And then we're not done because we get a new batch tonight and tomorrow, and that's going to hit Aberdeen again with another fresh round of snow. Pierre's probably a wintry mix. Sioux Falls could get a quick inch, 2, maybe 3 tomorrow morning. Here's how it plays out. Today, overcast. Sioux Falls 31 for a high. Gusty winds are coming back to Rapid City. We'll be in the mid to upper 30s there. Your snow threat builds near Mobridge and north. We think the parameters are good for blizzard conditions on the North Dakota side of the border, just bordering Eureka and Aberdeen. We'll see how bad that gets around Aberdeen late tonight, but the winds will be at least 30 to 40 out of the southeast. There's that little wintry and icy mix around Pierre and Chamberlain overnight, so the roads might be slick in the beginning of the day, and then the temperature will warm late Saturday morning. And I think things will get better. Sioux Falls, the story will be arriving snow early tomorrow morning. It's not a long-lasting event. It's not going to be all day. It's going to be probably a couple of hours of some intense snow possibilities. I've even seen some parameters in southwest Minnesota that produce a bolt of lightning. So if that happens, then remember last Sunday, I mean, we picked up some good snow in a hurry between Laverne and Tracy. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but it's mid-March, and the script can change quickly on something like that. So that's what we need to watch tomorrow morning. Afternoon, Sioux Falls could be back to the mid-30s, so I think we could melt what we get in the morning without a lot of trouble. And then the next element of weather is the northwest wind that comes into Mobridge and Aberdeen Saturday night, and that'll gust over 40, so there could be some blowing and drifting snow just as a result of that, and Sunday looks blustery. There's our snow forecast. That 2 to 4 Sioux Falls east, I think, is still valid. We'll keep watchful eyes on that trend here today. A morning mix, Pierre, Mitchell, Huron. That's short-lived because, again, the afternoon temperature will be warmer. Remember all of that wind out of the southeast tonight, too. That all complicates that forecast. What's next after that? Well, here is a look at our 7-day forecast. And if I know many of you are wanting spring-like weather, the best we can do is give you a shot here about Wednesday of next week. Might arrive a little earlier, but let's focus Wednesday. And some mid-40s in Sioux Falls. It could be surprisingly warm west of Sioux Falls out toward Chamberlain, Winter, and Rapid City. We could even hit some 60-degree weather for a short time. Aberdeen, I'm not going to go that high. We've had a lot of snow lately. If we can hit mid-30s, that's good. Pierre could be in that upper 40s to low 50s range. And that would start Tuesday into Wednesday. And then after that, the end of the 7 days is going to start to go downhill again. We've probably got a storm system through the plains and sharply colder weather about a week out from today. On that note, check out more details on the weather at KELOLAND.com.